Hi guys, I've got something a little bit different for you today in my pocket page notebook. If you saw my last Patreon studio vlog, I unboxed my latest parcel from the Pink Paisley design team, and in the box was included this really awesome llama punch from EK Tools. Now llamas aren't like a big deal here and certainly not part of my life, but at the time, I was dealing with a tiny bit of drama on social media, and as soon as I unboxed this punch, I was just like, oh, no drama llama, how perfect. It couldn't be more perfect for the time. So that's what I'm doing today. I am going to make a little note to self, a no drama llama page, because I've got no photo to sort of represent this time, I guess, the issue that I was going through. I don't really want to take a photo of the issue that I was going through, so this is just going to be like a little fun page, a little reminder to myself just not to get sucked into that sort of thing. So my no drama llama punch is perfect for this. Now I grabbed out my Rosie Studio Mimosa Sunday 6x6 pad because I love it. It's really cute. The colors are pretty, and it was sitting on my desk because I had been working with it this week. And I just went ahead and punched out a million little llamas. I know I want to fill up this whole page with llamas, and I wasn't sure how many that was going to take. So I just used up all the scrap pieces that I had there. I didn't dig into any of the whole sheets, I don't think. I just used all the little scrappy bits and I punched out the llamas, a million llamas, to hopefully, I was hoping I wouldn't have to punch out any more, and I didn't, so that was cool. Now to get the llamas facing both ways, it just depends which way you put the paper into the punch. So that was a trick that I learned, to get it facing the left or right, depending on whether you put the paper facing up or facing down as you punch it. And then I just went ahead and glued all these little llamas onto the page. Again, I didn't do a whole lot of planning for that. I was just kind of sticking them down, trying to alternate the colors and which direction they were looking. And I think it turned out all right. It wasn't too difficult to get it sort of balanced, and then I glued those all down with my glue pen, which actually worked really well. That Rosie Studios paper is just a regular weight paper. It's quite thin, so it easily glues down with the glue pen. And then some of them I did hang off the page, so yes, it felt terrible having to chop off llama heads, but it sort of just makes the pattern look a little bit more real, I guess. Now the punch has, well, three parts. There's a heart as well, but it also has the little saddle for the llama. So I did fill in all the llama saddles on the page with alternating patterns to create this really fun page. Now for my pocket, I wanted to fill that with like an actual llama cut file of some description. So I'm gonna head over to my computer and try and find something I can sandwich in here. So this is the llama cut file I found on the Confessions of a Paper Addict cut file shop from Virginia. So I bought that one there, and I have just dragged in the PNG file to my Silhouette Studio software, and I just need to trace this to make it a cut file. So I'm just dragging over the trace area, hitting trace, and then I can delete the PNG file, and I have my little llama. Now I've set up my page to be 4¼ by 8¼ which is my traveler's notebook size. So if I zoom in here, I just want to make sure that he fits in here, and he does, but I'm just going to make it just a smudge smaller just to make sure that he's going to fit in the pocket. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut two of him, but I want to make sure that I duplicate another one, and I want to right click and flip him horizontally. So I'm going to have the front and the back of my my cut file sandwich, just to make sure that both of those images are going to fit perfectly. So I can go ahead and just cut that from white card. Okay, so I've changed my mind. I had a little panic that this is going to be way too thin because I've scaled that cut file down so much. It's going to be really thin to try and back it, and I want to make this as easy for myself as possible, so I'm going to use the offset tool here, and I'm just going to hit offset. That obviously is far too extreme, so I think I'll try like 0.02. Even that looks too big, to be honest. I don't know why when you click it once it goes down like 3. Let's try that, 0.01. I'm going to apply that and then just move the original out, and I think that looks fine. It's just slightly different. You can see it's not a whopping great deal thicker, but just enough it's going to make it a little bit easier for me to back this cut file. The only thing I'm going to do in here is release this compound path and just get rid of some of these tiny little cuts, because they're not going to cut well, they're not going to back well, and I think I'm even going to get rid of the triangles on the inside here, just because it is going to end up being such a small cut file. I want to just eliminate the ones that I know are not going to cut properly. And see, I'm even thinking about getting rid of the hearts. So there's no reason that you can't alter a cut file when you get it. That's the brilliance of it. So for instance, I could make things really easy for myself and just get rid of all of these inside pieces, and now I'm literally only going to have to back the actual llama itself and the little inside of the saddle piece and maybe the flower at the top. I'll see. I might end up cutting 2, but I think I'll put the little hearts back, but I kind of think I'll leave the saddle piece out. I just want to make this as easy as possible. I don't need all those little pieces to try and back it when it is such a small cut file, but that's what I'm going to do. Didn't want to mislead you there. So as well as cutting out the outline of the cut file, the llama cut file, I also cut a couple of backgrounds, and I just cut them out of that Rosie Studio 6x6 pad as well too. So I just use the outside line of the cut files, which means I only have to fill in a few tiny little pieces. There's the little hearts, the flower in her here, and the saddle, which just makes backing the cut file so much easier. So I'm just going to back those 3 things and then glue the whole thing down onto the background, and that will be my cut file backed. Superbly easy. The paper, the Rosie Studios paper, is, like I said, quite thin, and I clearly haven't got the settings right for that sort of paper. I tried to experiment a little bit, but it didn't really work very well, and the paper did kind of rip a little bit. Not enough that I had to do it again, but I do have to trim a few of those little tears with my scissors. Now, I left the feet on the background cut file of the background here, and I didn't want to cut those off to then back them up with something else, so I'm totally cheating and just using a pen to colour in the feet, and it makes it look like I backed those little feet even though I haven't. So that's kind of a fun idea, and I sort of wish I'd done that for the rest of it, but the little patterns in the hearts and the flowers are barely seeable. They're so small, they're barely seeable. The saddle definitely needed that pattern paper in it, but the rest I definitely could have coloured in. Now I'm just gluing this down with my glue pen, just a little section at a time. I figured if I outlined all of it with the glue pen, by the time I went to stick it down, the glue would have been a little bit dry and maybe a little bit less tacky, because this one does dry quite quickly. So I'm just doing it in the sections. I did the head and then the sort of body and then both sets of legs. Last thing I have to do is stick on its eyes, and I did that twice, and then I stuck those 2 backed cut files together to give me my little llama sandwich. So that fits nicely into my pocket. I'm just trying to work out how it's going to sit. I think it sits like this, with its head sort of horizontal, even though that means its feet aren't horizontal. with its feet horizontal, it kind of stuck its nose in the air and looked a little bit snooty, which wasn't what I was after. Now, I definitely wanted to use these gold glitter alphas from the Mimosa Sunday line, but holy moly, guys, I pulled these out. They're glittery, and the glitter goes everywhere. I am still finding gold glitter everywhere. It's all over me, all over my clothes, all over my desk, all over the floor. Yeah, it's not my favorite. I stuck down the word llama because I'm going to work my title backwards from the bottom up. And often thickers, those foam thickers you get, you've got a little bit of time to sort of work with them. They don't necessarily stick down particularly well. These Rosie Studios ones, nothing like that. They are stuck down well and good first time, so that's a lesson to learn. I did rip a little bit of the paper pulling it off, but the M kind of hides the hole. It didn't go through the hole, it just ripped off a little bit of the top of the paper, so the other letters do cover it up, but definitely make sure you know where you want to put those letters before you stick them down. They stick solid. Now, I picked out a couple of other alphas to maybe use along with the gold ones because I want to write No Drama Llama. And the gold alphas weren't going to fit that across one line. I want to write No Drama and then Llama. So I had these other ones. The Heidi Swap Color Fresh ones looked like a perfect match to this line too. The color would have worked really nicely, but I kind of like these little letters from Pink Fresh Studio, and I haven't used them a lot, so that's why I'm using these ones, because I really wanted to. I bought them and haven't really utilized them at all, so I'm going to pull those out. And I just picked a color, sort of red, pinks, that sort of thing, and chose all of the little letters for that. And funnily enough, No Drama fits perfectly on top of Llama. But I do kind of want to add an extra line because this page obviously doesn't have a photo or anything like that. It's more like a note to self. So I wanted it to say, be like the No Drama Llama. So this time I'm using all different blues. There seem to be less of the blues than there are of the pink ones, so I did have to break into the second sheet there. And this line almost fits. I do have to squeeze them on a little bit and just play with it just a little bit to try and squeeze it on so it's in one column. I didn't want the letters to overhang, but you'll see I missed the gap between like and the, so I just moved the word the over a little bit, and then I can line up my llama again, and I'm gonna keep the llama. I'm going to keep the llama in the pocket just with a couple of tiny attacher staples, so you don't need heaps. I probably added more than I needed to anyway. Just a few little staples will keep it in place, and it won't wiggle around in the pocket at all. Now, I wanted to write some journaling, I guess the actual note to self, and I wanted the llama to hide it, so I just, with the pocket down, with the llama in the pocket, I just sort of drew a rough area in pencil lightly to show where that would be hidden. Drew some lines, and then I'm gonna do some journaling with a blue pen, and the first thing I do is spell the word there wrong, which annoyed me, and I didn't quite get the words down the way I wanted it to. I wish I had spent the time to work out what I was going to say first, but this was very late at night, guys. I don't normally film at night, but I really wanted to get this up for you today, so I just went ahead and wrote it down and then wasn't that happy with it, so I erased the lines and called it done. So last night when I finished up filming, I wasn't super happy with it, and I had this idea overnight. So I did change my page this morning. You know, I don't do that very often, but what I did was go back to my silhouette and just cut out another llama background from that same cut file. I had already closed my Silhouette Studio, so I just kind of measured the height of this one and kind of matched it. I don't think it's exactly the same, but it doesn't matter because the pocket's gonna stop this ever being exactly in the right place anyway. So for now it kind of just sits there. It looks a little bit like a drop shadow, which I don't mind. And before I cut it out, I used my the sketch pen, the pen holder from the silhouette. That was the first time I'd ever done that. So I sketched the shape out onto the paper first so that I could run it through my typewriter. And I just found this quote on Pinterest with the no Drama Llama attached to it. Don't create it, don't invite it, don't associate with it. And I just am a lot happier with how this looks this morning. So that'll teach me right for filming way too late at night when my brain is definitely not working. So I got there in the end. I got the page that I was after in the first place, which was just a little note to myself plus a fun punch to use. Have you ever added a page into your notebook that doesn't have a photo, that isn't actually documenting a memory? If you haven't, I highly suggest you give it a go because it's quite therapeutic and really fun. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, don't forget to check out my Patreon page. There are even more videos over there, including the studio vlog. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.